It's one of the greatest things about Boy Scouts. Everybody gets quiet with 3 fingers go up in the air. All right, I'd like to start off this Court of Honor. Nicole, would you like to begin the opening ceremony?
Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Color guard, prepare to post the colors. Color guard, post the colors. Troop, right hand salute. May everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May all Scouts join me in the Scout Oath and Law. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. Color guard, return to ranks. Color guard, retreat. Color guard, halt. Color guard, about face. Color guard, dismissed.
Thank you. All right. Today we're going to have an Eagle Court of Honor. It's been a while because of COVID that we've had an Eagle Court of Honor, but let's take a look at what it means to become Eagle. If you look at 100 boys that join Scouting, 12 of them for the first time will have religious contact. 5 of them will earn their religious emblem. 2 of them will enter the clergy. 18 Scouts will develop hobbies that will last a lifetime. 8 of them will earn a career-based merit badge that they've worked on, or earn a career and a merit badge that they've worked on in Scouts. 17 will go on to volunteer in Scouts. 1 will use a scouting skill to save another person's life. 1 will use his scouting skill to save his own life. 28 will continue lifelong hobbies that they started in Scouts, and only 3 of that 100 will attain the rank of Eagle. And we have 6 of those Scouts here today. First, I'd like to have the color guard, or the honor guard, bring George Alexander forward, and we will introduce George Alexander, our first Eagle Scout. We'll keep you in alphabetical order. Yes. George is one of those Scouts who came into Scouts continuously growing. He, like every other young Scout, a fresh brush cut, full of energy, and just yearning to take whatever he could in and grow while he is in Scouts. He breezed through that first year of Scouts, learning all he could, getting up to first class as quickly as possible, and his hair just kept growing. After that first year, George joined the traditional program. He was a patrol leader, he was quartermaster, whatever assignment was given George, he attacked it with the same vigor that a young Scout would. He absorbed and fed off everything, every bit of leadership we could provide him, and his hair just kept growing. George continued through Scouts, national jamborees, world jamborees, and even Philmont. And everything that George did, he learned and absorbed and stood up. He always had a smile on his face, and George's hair just kept growing. All this leadership experience, George just kept growing. He kept doing more. Everything you asked George to do, he said with a smile and volunteered, yes, I will do that. Yes, I can get it done. George is always there. George was the scout that we would hold up for an example as an awesome Eagle Scout. George was the Eagle Scout that we've had for a number of years, and George's hair just keeps growing. I like to think of George as Troops 179's Samson. So those that know the biblical story of Samson, I hope he never finds a Delilah, but our Samson is here. And as long as that long golden brown hair is here, George, our Eagle Scout, is here too. And George, don't ever change. Be George Alexander, the Eagle Scout that you are. And I have no problem explaining to my wife after sharing a tent with you at Philmont where that long blonde hair came from. This is George Alexander. If I could have the honor guard bring forward Evan Budgery, and Chuck Williams will introduce Evan.
Well, you'll have to forgive me. I don't introduce Eagle Scouts that often, but I was terribly honored when Evan asked me to introduce him. When Evan Budgery joined Troop 179, we won huge. It was like the lottery hit off. Number one, because Evan is a great scout. Number two, Evan has great parents. Brian and Jessica have helped us all along the way. Brian is one of our key guys that have dealt with, you saw those 7 trailers out there. They've been his kingdom since he's been here. Number 3, did I say Evan is a great scout? What makes Evan a great scout? What makes me view him that way? He's always there. Now, there's plenty of other Eagle Scouts that attend a lot and are always there. But let me tell you a little about Evan for the last 7 years. Evan has been on 77 camping trips out of the 82 that were possible for him to go to. So according to our records, he's missed 5 campouts in the last 7 years. Evan spent 167 nights camping. Most guys that have been in the troop for 7 years average somewhere between 100 and 120. So I think that says Evan was always there, but he's always had a volunteer position. From the minute he joined as that fresh cut young scout to the minute he left us to go off to college, and we sorely miss him, Evan has had a leadership position, a position of responsibility, we call it. He's been patrol leader twice, he's been a patrol scribe, he's been quartermaster twice, he's been an assistant senior patrol leader twice, he's been senior patrol leader twice, and he spent the last year being a junior assistant scoutmaster mentoring the Axeman Patrol, which is one of our patrols of 8th graders that we try to move them on along into high school. There sits the 2019 Leader of the Year from Troop 179. So I always talk to scouts about, I have 5 things that you do in scouting, that you can do. And these are like my top 5 questions that I've been asked, because I've been involved in scouting for a little over 50 years now. So the number 5 question that I get is, did you attend either JLT or NYLT, they're the same thing, the National Youth Leadership Training? Evan not only attended the National Leadership Training, but he staffed the National Youth Leadership Training twice, 3 times, 3 times? Wow, 3 times. The number 4 question I get, did you get elected to the Order of the Arrow? Evan not only got elected to the Order of the Arrow, but he's a Brotherhood member, which means that he's sealed his membership and he's as high as one can go in the Order of the Arrow. Number 3, did you attend a National Jamboree? Evan was at the 2017 National Jamboree at the summit in West Virginia. I think had a good time. He came back with a tent from there. I think he said he bought it, but I'm not really sure. Number 2 question, did you go on a high adventure? And to put an addendum to that, mostly it's did you go to Philmont? And yes, in 2019, Evan did go to Philmont Scout Ranch. So the number 1 question that I get asked as my scouting career when I meet somebody and they find out that I was a scout, are you an Eagle Scout? Well, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Evan Budgery.
If I could get the honor guard to bring forward Nico Carrizales. Introducing Nico will be Brian Effersey.
Hello, everybody. Please bear with me. This is the first time I've actually had the honor to be able to introduce an Eagle Scout. And it really is an honor to be asked. I got to first know Nico when he became a traditional scout. I think it was around the first year I was working with the traditionals. He was always very enthusiastic about scouting. He always attended all of our meetings and all of our activities. Even back in those days, it was clear he would become one of the leaders of our troop in future years. I was the direct adult advisor to the patrol Nico was in, a member of for his first 2 years, which I believe was the Thunderwolves? I can barely remember that far back. During those years, he took several leadership positions, including quartermaster, assistant patrol leader, and patrol leader. He always had the ability to relate to other scouts, befriend them, but also exhibit leadership qualities. He always practiced servant leadership qualities, which we talk about all the time. But more than anything, he has always been a steady presence. You always know what you're getting. Those first 2 years of the traditional, the patrols he was in had some bumpy times. But having someone with a truly steady presence helps everyone navigate through the stresses positively, and it's an extremely good trait for life. Since Nico got into high school, he's held various leader positions as an instructor with the New Scouts and Traditionals. As I still work with the Traditionals, I could observe him from afar when he was with the New Scouts, but I got to see him work up close with the Traditionals. During that time, I've seen him continue to grow as a scout, a youth leader, and a young adult. Throughout his time in scouting, I've seen him practice the scout law and the scout oath regularly. I'm not saying that I've heard him say it, I'm saying I've actually seen it in action. One thing that stands out about Nico is he's really well thought out, especially for a youth. We've had discussions over the years about various happenings in the world, including events, politics, etc. And I remember the first time that happened, it seemed really odd to me to think that a kid at that age could be so well thought out. I mean, when I was that age, the only thing I could have an educated discussion would have been sports. Anyway, it's always been very impressive to hear him talk about what he thinks. Nico was in one of our crews, 2 crews for the Philmont trip in July 2019. I was one of the adult leaders on that trip. And although I don't recall that Nico had an official leadership position in the crew, it was obvious that he was one of our crew leaders based on his actions and how he handled himself. As I mentioned before, Nico's a very steady presence, and on a trip to Philmont, and if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about, it can create a lot of stress, both physical and mental. It really does help having even-keeled participants. Of course, he's human like the rest of us and not immune from having an occasional quote moment. And just one quick story is one of those moments. So I think it was our 5th or 6th day morning, and we were hiking out of a camp called Dave's Lake Camp. Without getting into too many details, we had missed our events for a couple days, and Evan, sitting right here, was our crew leader, and he wanted us to kick butt and cruise down the trail. I don't recall how many miles we were going that day, but he wanted us to make that activity. Regardless, we were on a break, and I was at the back of the group with Mr. Budgery just hanging out. It was a beautiful morning. We were all enjoying the break, just kind of chilling out, when all of a sudden we heard some yelling. And actually it came from, looked up to see what was happening, and it actually came from Nico. I don't think up to that point I'd ever heard him raise his voice. And since we're in a church, I really can't say what he said. But Nico was basically saying, hey, we're in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Let's just enjoy our time and not worry about the events or anything else. And, you know, I had my wife read this over this morning, and she specifically said, the way you wrote it, it comes across bad, but you really need to emphasize it's another example of his steady presence. It's like he knew what was going on, what we were doing, and what we were really trying to accomplish. Just wanted everybody to enjoy that. Anyway, he helped make the trip really memorable and fun, and I was really glad he was with us. Having said all that, I'm very glad to congratulate Nico on being an Eagle Scout.
If next I could get the honor guard to bring forward Carlos Gonzalez. And for somebody that doesn't do this very often, Brian Effersey will also be introducing Carlos.
Again, it really is a great honor to be asked to do this. Like Nico, I really got to know Carlos when he first became a new traditional. He was also in those first couple patrols I had worked with. Carlos was always willing to do what needed to be done, no questions asked, no complaining, no worrying or complaining about what other scouts were or were not doing. Another way to put it is to say he would always step up when something needed to be done within the patrol. As long as I've known Carlos, I can't recall any time that he wasn't or didn't seem to be in a good mood. He's always upbeat and just goes with the flow. He's always smiling, cracking jokes, and making sure there's a good vibe going on no matter what activities we were doing, fun or not. He always seems to get along with everyone, and as we all know, sometimes that's difficult to do. Over his years in the troop, Carlos has had several leadership positions, including being a quartermaster, an assistant patrol leader, and a chaplain's aide. But Carlos is the kind of scout who doesn't necessarily need to have a leadership position to exemplify what scouting is all about. Other scouts can view how he is acting and observe him following the scout law and oath based on his actions. Carlos is a great fit in any group, and I'd say he is what I'd call a great glue guy. Every group needs someone who can help keep the group together and prevent it from falling apart. He does this with his temperament and laid-back personality and willingness to do whatever work needs to be done. Those traits help keep everyone moving in the right direction, even when it seems the group's going to get off track. It's a great trait to have. You may know that Carlos played football in high school and was a big sports fan, but football in particular. He's especially a big Michigan fan, which if you saw my mask, I'm not. Anyway, over the years, Carlos and I have had many discussions about sports and football in particular. One funny story involves the Michigan State-Michigan game back in 2015. Carlos was only around 12 back then, but he was already a big Michigan fan. We were actually camping at Kensington that weekend. The game was late afternoon, and if you root for either of the schools, you'll remember that it is one of the most memorable endings in the history of sports, not just college football. Without reliving the agony for those who felt it, the patrols were preparing dinner late in the game, and back in the goat area, they had a TV or an iPad, and they were watching it. And some of the adults, including me, would occasionally go back and check out what was going on. And many of the scouts were following what was going on their phones as well. It was a close game, but Michigan was leading most of the way, and eventually it seemed they had wrapped up the win. I had a brief stop, my last brief stop over by the goat area to check out what was going on and came back and resigned that Michigan State was going to lose. And Carlos was actually very happy that Michigan was about to win and pretty much rubbing it in my face, which was all good. Well, you all know what happened next, and needless to say, he had to eat some crow over the next couple minutes. And he was obviously bummed out by the outcome. Nonetheless, he was still able to keep his good spirits and take it all in stride. It was all in good fun, especially for me. But again, it didn't ruin the evening. It didn't ruin his evening, I should say, and he helped with all the normal tasks, dinner, cleaning, and all the other stuff we do on a Saturday night to prepare for closing camp Sunday. Again, another example of just doing what needs to be done, no complaining, getting the job done, and setting a good example for other scouts. Congratulations, Carlos.
Next, if I could get the honor guard to bring forward Andrew Peters. Introducing Andrew will be another Assistant Scoutmaster in the new Scout program, Frank Silvaggi.
Good afternoon. The Peters family is about to welcome another Eagle Scout into their ranks. Andrew Peters completed his board of review in August of 2019. While the pandemic may have delayed this for 2 years, it cannot delay the celebration that we're having today. Andrew is currently attending Olivet College for music education and is expected to graduate in 2023. Andrew started his scouting career as a Tiger Cub in first grade with Pack 179. Since then, 12 years, 5 Cub Scout ranks, an Arrow of Light Award, 7 Boy Scout ranks, and 21 merit badges later, Andrew stands before you as an Eagle. For Andrew and the others today, this is quite an accomplishment. After Andrew asked me to introduce him, we talked on the phone for a little bit, and I asked him, so with all of this time as a scout, including Cub Scouts, what was your single favorite memory? So I thought, well, 12 years, maybe he'll give me a few answers, it'll take him a few minutes. He gave me an answer instantly, almost like he anticipated the question. He really didn't even have to think about it. And when I had asked him the question and he gave me the answer, the reason that answer came to mind and what made him so proud was that this was the first time anybody in his family had accomplished this. And this task was that for the first time, someone in his family was elected as senior patrol leader. And he was, like I said, very proud of that moment. And it's funny that that's what he picked, because when I think about Andrew, I think about the speech that he gave to the entire troop, asking, here's why I should be elected. And it was amazing. I wish I had it recorded. It was very heartfelt, and you could tell it was very meaningful to him. And I even turned to his dad after he gave the speech. It's hard to breathe in this thing. Ooh. I turned to his dad after he gave the speech, and I said, Andrew just won. And he did, and he went on to be a great SPL. So I'd like to introduce to you, congratulations, Andrew, and the rest of you, Andrew Peters.
And last but not least, if the honor guard could bring forward Grayson Yandora. Introducing Grayson will be Scoutmaster Venture Leader Connie Nye.
Grayson, I actually should have asked you this question before. When you asked me, and it is an honor to introduce you. I should have asked you a question. And actually, this has already been kind of brought up once. Michigan State. Okay. You ready? Go green. Okay. Come on. Nobody? Thank you. Holy mackerel. Husband's got my back. Okay. It's kind of a joke in my house that no matter when a scout honors me with the question or the invitation to introduce them in a court of honor, I wait until the last minute to write it. Y'all, I've been out there praying I wasn't the first one to speak because I was writing my speech. But unbeknownst to me, I've been writing this one for 10 years. It was a day I'll not soon forget. I was the unit commissioner for his pack, 231 out of Lanigan Elementary, and I was there to help with the Pinewood Derby. I was walking around admiring the cars when this little ginger-haired tiger cub, he stops me dead in my tracks, and I mean, I couldn't go around him no matter how hard I tried. And he did this by standing directly in front of me, sticking out his hand, meeting me dead square in the eye, which at the time was no small feat. And he said, "Hi, my name is Grayson, and I'm going to be an Eagle Scout." Almost like he was daring me to challenge that dream. Right after that, I promptly lost track of him. I saw him with the occasional blue and gold, or, you know, when in my job as unit commissioner. His dad was Cub Master. But I was really pleased to see that he chose to cross over into Troop 179. And then I lost him again in the bowels of the traditional and the new Scout program. I never get my hands on him again until they become ventures. So now we enter the crew. I'd like to share with you the ABCs of Grayson. Authentic, bold, and confident, but I already showed you those. Dauntless, easygoing, family. More on that later. Genuine. For H, I think he would have preferred handsome, but I went with hungry. Intelligent. Jaunty, keen, and believe it or not, loud. If you put him on the side of the road when traffic is going by, he demands, there goes his brother, that every single car honk. If they don't, he yells at them. Can't believe we've never had anybody stop and, you know. But then when they do honk, he yells even louder. Memorable, novel, one-liners. He's brilliant. Promising, quick-witted, hence the one-liners, and real. Snarky, think back to those one-liners. Too cool for school. Underestimated, because really, he's not too cool for school. Verve, you can look that one up. Witty. Zendadiacal. I had to look that one up. Young and zinger. While this quick trip through the alphabet was fun, and you may feel you know him a little bit better, I'm going to finish with this. I really enjoy working with Scouts and merit badges. One of my favorites is family life. The last couple of requirements speak to what it means to be an effective parent and an effective father. About a year ago, I had one of those once-in-a-lifetime conversations with an incredibly, deeply caring young man that brought us both to tears. Sorry, I know I promised I wouldn't tell. We're in a field, face to face in a couple of chairs, and I was a hot mess. He wasn't much better. Grayson, You are an extraordinary young man, and I count myself genuinely lucky to have been just a small part of your journey. Grayson, Yandora.
Don't worry, Connie, I'll pick up your trash. Leave no trace isn't part of your routine. Next, we'll bring Scott Waldron up here to talk about the Eagle Scout investiture. One of the things that being Eagle Scout means is the alumni that you have. 70% of military graduates from the military academies are at one point in time Scouts. 72% of all Rhodes Scholars were Scouts at one time. 85% of all FBI agents. 65% of all college graduates. Believe it or not, 65% of the Congress, U.S. Congress, were members of Scouts at one point in time. 71% of all college football captains were Scouts. 26 of the first 29 astronauts were in Boy Scouts, including a couple Eagle Scouts. And 11 of 12 who have walked on the moon were all Boy Scouts. Scott, tell us what it takes to become an Eagle Scout.
To become an Eagle Scout, you've been tested in every area of scouting. Through the ranks of the Scout, Tenderfoot, Second Class, and First Class, you were required to learn scouting skills. You tied the knots, found your way with a compass, learned to cook, learned to camp, learned to care for yourself and others. Upon gaining First Class rank, you were ready to enter the next phase of scouting, learning leadership. You earned the Star and Life Awards by earning merit badges, successfully completing leadership positions in the troop, and giving service to your community. After earning the Life Award, you've been trained for the challenge that Scouting presented to you, the Eagle Scout requirements. Requirement 1 challenged you to remain active in Scouting. Requirement 2 challenged you to continue to live by the principles of the Scout Oath and Law. To prove that you had done this, you were required to obtain letters from individuals who knew you personally and would be willing to attest to your conduct as a Scout. Requirement 3 challenged you to earn 21 merit badges, 11 of them required, and 10 electives. For each of these merit badges, you're required to select and meet with a counselor approved by the Boy Scouts of America and satisfy them that you were knowledgeable in those requirements. Requirement 4 challenged you to prove your abilities as a leader. You had to secure a position in the troop and be responsible to complete that requirement of the position. You were pushed to be the best leader and meet a standard set by those who held it before you. Requirement 5 challenged you to plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project that gave benefit to the community. This project was required to be approved by the Scoutmaster, the Troop Committee, and the Michigan Crossroads Council. Requirement 6 challenged you to be and to reflect upon your future life and write a statement that listed your ambitions and your life purpose. You presented this to your Scoutmaster, who reviewed it with you and determined if you were fully ready to become an Eagle Scout. Upon completion of these requirements, you came to the final step of your scouting trail, the Board of Review. Your troop committee conducted this board with a representative from Michigan Crossroads Councils in attendance. They reviewed all the requirements to ensure that you have met every challenge from Scout to Eagle Scout. At the end of this Board of Review, our troop committee and the Michigan Crossroads Council forwarded your application to the National Council of Boy Scouts of America, requesting a review of your application and approval as you as an Eagle Scout. The President, Joseph Biden, the Chief Scout of the Boy Scouts of America, Roger Mosby, signed the applications of George Alexander, Evan Budgery, Nicolas Carrizales, Carlos Gonzalez, Andrew Peters, and Grayson Yandora, officially making them Eagle Scouts. Congratulations. Back to you, Greg.
All right. So we have a tradition, and now this is the part of the ceremony where only Eagle Scouts can charge other Eagle Scouts to go forth. And so the charge of the Eagle will be given by myself. I asked and part of our tradition, if there is any Eagle Scouts in the crowd, to come forward. And if I could get the Eagle Scout candidates to stand along here, and Eagle Scouts to stand along there. Let's see, come on, there's more of you. Let's first mention some famous Eagle Scouts. So I mentioned it earlier, Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, is an Eagle Scout. Justice Stephen Breyer is an Eagle Scout. Stephen Fawcett, world record holder and first person to circumnavigate the Earth in a solar hot air balloon. Bill Gates Sr., James Lovell from Apollo 13 is an Eagle Scout. The Honorable Richard Lugar, a state senator from Indiana. Willard Marriott, chairman and CEO of Marriott International. H. Ross Perot, and of course Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. William Sessions, Steven Spielberg, John Tesh, Togo West, Robert M. Gates, former Secretary of Defense and also the 35th National President of the Boy Scouts of America. John Heder from Napoleon Dynamite. And for you, Evan, I threw in Shane Victorino, all-star Major League player. So, unfortunately, he played for the Red Sox. Go Yanks. So the Eagle Scout charge. I have it. Oh my gosh. Chuck, I lost it. Where is it? Hang on. There it is. Go ahead and play the Jeopardy theme while I'm doing this. That's fine. It's at the bottom of my thing. Here we go. I have the honor of giving you the Eagle Scout charge on the occasion of your elevation to the highest award in scouting. The Scouts of all nations constitute one of the most wholesome and significant movements in the world's history. You have been judged by the Boy Scouts of America as being worthy of this honor. All who know you rejoice in your achievement. Your position, as you know, is one of honor and responsibility. You are all marked men. As an Eagle Scout, you have a solemn obligation to do your duty to God, to country, to your fellow Scouts, and to mankind in general. This is a great undertaking. As you live up to your obligations, you bring honor to yourself, but also the brother Scouts you see before you. America has many good things to give you and your children after you, but these good things depend for the most part on the quality of her citizens. Our country has had a great past. You can help that future become even greater. I charge you to undertake your citizenship with a solemn dedication. Be a leader, but lead only toward the best. Lift up every task you do and every office you hold to the highest level of service to God and your fellow man. So live and serve that those who know you are inspired to finer living. We have too many who use their strength and their brains to exploit others and to gain unselfish ends. I charge you to be among those who dedicate your skills and your abilities to the common good. Build America on the sound foundation of clean living, honest work, unselfish citizenship, and reverence for God. And whatever others may do, leave behind you a record which every Scout will be justly proud. Eagle Scouts, I now ask you to rededicate yourself by repeating the Scout Oath, just those on stage. As you stand before your Eagle Scouts, resolve to uphold forever its principles with the same ambition and perseverance that have brought you this far. Scout sign? On my honor. Two. Your conduct along the trail has been excellent. You have now rededicated yourselves to the principles of scouting. But one more thing is important, and that is your future. As an Eagle Scout, you become a guide to other Scouts. You become an example in your community. Remember that your actions are just now a little bit more conspicuous, and people expect more from you. To falter in your responsibility would not only reflect upon you, but each and every fellow Scout and Eagle Scout before you. The torch that you carry is not yours, but it is all of ours. Thank you. I don't have my mask. I've had my shots. Next, I'd like to, we will begin presenting the awards, and we'll go in alphabetical order. Do you want just have the parents come up? Is that what you want? You'll call them? Okay. So Chuck will be presenting the awards. Chuck Williams.
Guys, we've been together for a while, haven't we? Can't tell you how many campouts that we've sat around campfires, sat around a table, ate good food, and here we are, day you're getting your eagle. For us scout leaders, that's a special time. This is a win. For all the different times that we have to handle a scout that's crying because he's not making it, or a scout who's been bad because he's wasn't doing what we wanted him to do. This is what makes up for everything. That's what keeps us coming, is to present Eagle Awards to you guys. So if I can have George and his parents please come forward and stand in the center of the stage. So Dad's got his award on, and Mom's got her recognition on, and George's got his Eagle Scout thing on. Troop 179 also, as part of the package, gives away a silver belt buckle with our troop logo on it, and on the back of it is inscribed the number of which you are when you got your Eagle, which number of Eagle Scout that we've had. And I would like to say the Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to George Anthony Alexander, Troop 179 of Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. Let's congratulate George. Woo! So, Evan, Budgery, could you and your parents please take the center stage? All right, the Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Evan Jason Budgery, Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. Can Nico come forward and take the center stage with his parents? The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Nicolas Arturo Carrizales. Hope I just said that right. Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. All right, Carlos, can you please come forward with your parents to take the center stage? The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Carlos Eduardo Gonzalez of Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. Mr. Peters, can you and your father please come forward? Fortunately, Andrew's mom couldn't be here, but she is watching, I'm sure, and is currently incapacitated at a hospital. The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Andrew Jerome Peters of Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. You know, Grayson, I'm a W, so I'm like at the end like you are, but that's always where the best people are. Anyhow, Grayson, please come forward, and if your parents could come forward to sit at center stage with us, that would be great. The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Grayson Michael Yandora, Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. Hey, I want to introduce 6 of our troop scouts, newest Eagle Scouts. Here they are.
Guys, have a seat. All right. So you've all met them and we've introduced them. Now it's their turn to talk to us. Oh. Remember, keep it short. You're standing between dinner and us and dinner, okay? All right. All right. First, I'd like to bring up George Alexander. George?
As a little first grader, I came home one day with a flyer for Cub Scouts. I told my parents, I want to learn how to make a fire. I want to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow. I want to learn how to shoot a BB gun. I want to become a Cub Scout. Little did I know that was the beginning of the biggest journey of my life so far. When I transitioned from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, everyone from my pack that became a Boy Scout went to our local troop, Troop 1542, located in my hometown of Ferndale, Michigan. After visiting several troops in the area, I decided to join Troop 179 instead and leave the security of my friends and go to this unfamiliar troop. I don't know what would have happened if I had stayed in Troop 1542, but I'm glad with how the decision I made turned out. I've made many good friends and met many great mentors that have helped me along the way. I'd like to thank Mr. Radford, Mr. Hooker, Chuck, Connie, and all of the other adults who have helped me throughout my time as a scout in this troop. When I joined this troop, the only person I knew was my friend Daniel Witzel, who also came from my Cub Scout pack and decided to join 179 instead of 1542. But this wasn't the only friend that I had in this troop for long. I quickly made friends with my fellow scouts, and although a lot of them have moved on or aged out, there are still a few left. Daniel Witzel, Donald Peters, Nicole Waldron, Brian LeVake, Kate Workman, and all of these Eagle Scouts up here. My fellow Eagle Scout, Grayson Yandora, taught me my favorite scout pastime, euchre. He also beats me every time that we play euchre. The scout motto is be prepared, so ever since I learned how to play, I've always carried a deck of cards with me, and I know Grayson carries a deck of cards with him too. Scouting has given me plenty of opportunities. I've been able to go to a national jamboree, a world jamboree, a Philmont trek, and many summer camps and other campouts. But it's taken a lot of support from the people around me to do everything that I have done. A lot of thanks goes to my grandparents, my grandma and grandpa, and my grandmother and grandfather, my Uncle David and Aunt Wendy, and my Aunt Jeanette, as well as everybody else that has helped me along the way. They have allowed me to do more than what I could have done on my own. And thanks to my sister. She didn't think that I would mention her, but here we are. Hopefully, one day you'll be standing at a podium making your Eagle speech one day. And then there's my parents. Without them, I definitely wouldn't be here. My mom has done so much for me, I don't think I know everything that she's done for me. All of the paperwork, the campout registration, keeping track of events, updating my uniform, and so much more. And there's my dad. Back in Cub Scouts, my dad took the role of camp coordinator and assumed a lot of leadership. Because of this, scouting became ingrained as me as cool because my dad was doing it. Even though he hasn't been as involved within the troop, he has helped me with scouting stuff like my Eagle project. He motivated me and helped me throughout the entire process. Without both of them, I don't think that I would be an Eagle Scout. Thank you, Mom and Dad. A special thanks goes to Jackie and Mike Wisniewski. They were leaders in my pack, and now they lead 1542. When Jackie found out that I was not going to join Troop 1542, she said, "I would support you wherever you go. The most important thing is that you stay in Scouts." Mike, on the other hand, had a different reaction. Recently, he told me that the only reason that I went to Troop 179 was not because I had chosen to come here, but because he had traded me to this troop. But I wasn't acceptable on my own, so Mike added Daniel Whistle and a 20-pack of chicken nuggets to sweeten the deal. One of the best experiences I've had at summer camp is helping Mike at the shotgun range over the last few years. We've made many great memories and had great times together. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Next, Evan. That looks like a lot of papers, Evan. Evan Budgery, folks.
Lots of paper. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you today. It's such an honor. When I first started my scouting journey in this troop, becoming an Eagle Scout seemed like such a daunting task. It seemed so far away. It was always the older kids who we all looked up to earning it, and I wanted to be just like them one day. And now, today's that day for me. So now that I made it, I would like to share what being an Eagle Scout means to me. I think it's more than just a patch on a uniform. It's a connection between me, all of them, and then every other Eagle Scout. It's a journey that led to my personal growth, and it's a benchmark to show my accomplishments and also to guide me as I go ahead in the future. Being an Eagle Scout to me is one of my greatest accomplishments and is giving me memories and friendships that will last a lifetime. I started my scouting journey in Pack 275 out of Grandview Elementary School. There, I created memories such as planting a tree by the school that stands there still today, or building our own toolboxes. It was me and the same group of boys for many years. After crossing over to Troop 179, I started to see what a great organization it is here. The adults here work so hard to ensure that each and every scout has the opportunity to grow. From my first leadership position as a new scout patrol leader to being elected senior patrol leader, people were there every step of the way to help coach me and make sure everything went right. As I got more involved in scouting, I had the opportunity to go on several high adventure trips. One of these trips was down to Florida Sea Base, where I went scuba diving off the Florida Keys. We had a lot of prep work going into it, getting scuba certified, but I was able to go down there and see a breathtaking underwater landscape. Another unique experience I had in scouting was going to National Youth Leadership Training. I first went through the program as a participant and then went back and staffed it for several years because I liked it so much. Those courses taught me a lot about leadership and communication, and I don't think I could have gotten that experience anything else. It's opportunities like these that make scouting hold such a special place in my heart. Now, I have a few people that I need to thank that helped get me this far. First, I would like to thank the countless people who have supported me through my many fundraisers over the years. Next, I would like to extend a thank you to all the adults that volunteer their time to deal with all of us. You somehow teach us a lot, and we learn a lot from you guys. Thank you to the leaders of PAC 279 for introducing me to scouting. Thank you to Elvine Cooper and Dale Hawkins of the First Presbyterian Church Garden Club for giving me the opportunity to work on my Eagle project here. Thank you to Miss B, who has been an excellent teacher and has helped as a mentor in my life. Thank you to Mr. Effersey for being a good role model on how not to be a butthead. That's one of his very favorite quotes. And then thank you, Chuck, for helping me develop as a leader, working with me as I went from position to position and making sure I was ready for each step on the way. Thank you to all of my family who were there with me and watched me grow up, and I hope they like where I am now. And thank you to my sister, who, when I was younger, got dragged along to every scouting event and is still there to see me at every court of honor along the way. And finally, thank you to my parents for being there every step of the way and for being my biggest role models in life. Thank you to my mom for getting involved in my Cub Scout pack early on, and my dad for getting involved in the troop. That level of involvement means the world to me. With that, I want to give a thank you to everybody here today for coming out to support new Eagle Scouts, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
I've been in the troop for about 20 years now, and I keep looking for Nicolas Carrizales. I have no idea who that is, but Nico will come up and speak.
I still remember the first time I walked in this troop with 44 fifth graders who had no idea what they were doing. And honestly, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I think I'm figuring out slowly. Now, my scouting experience is definitely one of the most important things that has ever happened to me in my life. But I could not have had this without certain people that got me in the right direction. So the first thing I need to do is thank the person who got me into scouting, who lives miles away. His name was Jake Hawes in second grade, and he was my friend, one of my best friends at the time, and he's the person that got me into the Cub Scouts. And the next people I gotta thank, especially gotta thank, are my parents. I know for a fact that I would not be here standing in front of you if it wasn't for my mom and dad. They have helped me so much along the way to get to where I am, and honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do to repay them. I especially wanna thank my mother for reminding me to do my paperwork every single day, 2 times a day, to make sure that I turn in everything on time. And I want to thank my dad for helping me at Cub Scouts, make my Pinewood Derby cars, and everything else, for all the driving he's done, and for all the other things I'm probably not thinking of right now. And next people I gotta thank are the adults of this troop. I want to thank Mr. Schultz, Mr. Budgery, and Mr. Effersey, especially Mr. Effersey, for that 1 year at Games Fest where you snuck me and my best friend Jackson Morocco out secretly. No one else knew. It was the worst Games Fest we've ever been to, and Mr. Effersey was the one who got us out. And I just gotta make sure he knows that I thank him a lot for that moment. And I especially gotta thank Mr. Clem for being with me all throughout Cub Scouts and all throughout Boy Scouts to help me be along the way there as well. And next, I want to thank every person, the individuals within my group who helped me learn lessons along the way. And that first person I gotta thank is Jackson Morocco for tenting with me probably for 5 years, every camp out. I don't know how we didn't kill each other, to be honest with you, but I'm glad he was there with me. And I want to thank all the Eagle Scouts up here as well, for they were also along with me on my journey. And every other scout that's no longer here, that I have come and gone, who even made a small impact on my life. For everyone I've met here has made even the smallest of impacts, and every one of them I want to thank especially for making sure I end up like the person I am today. And I could go on for all the scouting experiences I had, but honestly, I don't think we want to be here all day. So I just want to leave you with thank you, and thank you for coming here to support me now.
You ready, Carlos? All right, let's do it. Carlos Gonzalez.
So, hello, I'm Carlos. So, scouting to me, I really could not imagine being the person I am today without the people that I've met and the experiences that I've had. First, I would like to thank everyone that I've met and who has supported me during my time here at Troop 179. I remember my first day here at Troop 179. I was a short fifth grade. I mean, I'm still short, but I was a short, timid fifth grader here who wasn't really sure why I was. Who had joined because of his friends, Michael Nowicki and Connor Morton. They chose this troop and on our transition from PAC 238. So I decided I wanted to be with my friends, so I came here. But really, some people in specific that I want to thank, Chuck, Connie, we did it, boys, out here. Mr. Effersey, for all the times that we talk sports, it's always a fun time having that Michigan State rivalry. Even though Michigan took the L, but it's fine. Mr. Leon, Mr. Philbaum, you saw my basketball shots out there during each of the venture meetings. Mr. Warnett, Mr. Brown, you have all helped me stay on track during the meetings and campouts, and have been there when I needed help the most. As you guys may have known, I like to have a good time, but you guys made sure that I didn't stray too far away from that. So, but I've made friends too along our Eagle Scout candidates here, some more that have already been Eagle Scouts, and I lost my place. And more from my days as a traditional adventurer, and they have all helped make memories that will last a lifetime in campouts, meetings, and summer camps. Also, I would like to thank, my mom and my dad. Dad, I wouldn't be here without you making sure that I was on task with all my merit badges, selling the wreaths, selling the popcorns. Mom for making sure that I packed an extra blanket so I wouldn't freeze to death during the campouts. Even though I'm sure I didn't need it, but I was fine. Jody, Ms. Garrett, Diogus, thank you for all supporting me and buying wreaths and just supporting me overall and asking how I'm doing in Scouts, and just motivating me to get to where I am today. So, as anyone knows, or in case you didn't know, I am a diehard Michigan fan. Being a student at the University of Michigan comes with being a leader to those around you, and that to me is what represents getting an Eagle Scout. I know my time as a football athlete, high school athlete, that's over, but an Eagle Scout, as it's already mentioned, it isn't just a badge. It's about helping others, and that's what I intend to do. And setting an example for others to follow for the rest of your life. So with that, I am proud to say that I am Eagle Scout and forever thankful that I can call Troop 179 at home. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting us, and congrats to all the rest of the Eagle Scout candidates, and go blue.
I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm from Buffalo, New York, so I don't care. Go green, go white, go yellow, don't care. All right, Mr. Peters, Andrew Peters. A few words from you, please.
So, when I was first introduced here today by Mr. Silvaggi, he said, when I became SPL, I gave super heart-moving speech. And rather than some people, I didn't have a whole paragraph written out, but I worked with Connie because when I was first becoming SPL, I was freaking out because I didn't think I could do it. There's a whole bunch of other people who I thought were way cooler than me who were also running, so I had no idea what type of speech to write. But I worked with Connie, and she said, don't write a speech. Just put down 3 or 4 bullet points and expand on that. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I'd like to start, I know, long introduction. So I'd like to start from the very beginning. I don't actually remember how I got into Scouts. All I remember is that I was in Scouts. So I'd like to think it was from my oldest brother, who is sitting there in the back. Yeah, I see you. And he's pretty much led the way through my whole scouting career. And as me and my brothers do, we've pretty much just followed him this whole time. So he was the first of us to get Eagle, and I'm the second. So I'd like to thank you for that, even though I really still want to punch you sometimes. Love you too. But yeah, so throughout my whole scouting career, I've pretty much had no idea what I was doing. And then I came here. I started off in Pack 179. I was like, Troop 179 is meeting in the same building, or not the same building, but meeting like 2 miles away. Still, same number. Great idea. So I came to Troop 179, and that's when I met Connie, Chuck, and all the other leadership. And I would like to apologize to them for being the craziest little new scout you guys probably have ever met. And looking back now, I can see why it's hard to work with new scouts. I was once a new scout instructor, but as I kept progressing, they kept working with me to help point me in the right direction. And sometimes there are adults out there who just give you the answers all the time. But here, something I am extremely grateful for is that they tell you how to find the answers yourself. So that way, when you go out into the real world, after you leave the troop, when you're like 40 or 50 years old, you still know how to find the answers rather than constantly looking around for someone to give you the answers. So I would really like to thank you guys and thank all of the New Scout leadership for putting up with little children, and just thank all the leadership here because they've all worked so hard to push everybody to be their best. Most of all, I would like to thank my dad because me, for one, I hate working on merit badges, specifically Eagle required ones, because those ones are always boring. Like family life, yay, family. And then personal fitness, I don't want to go running 2 miles. Nobody wants to do that. But I was always the scout who would work on the non-Eagle requireds, because that's like music and woodworking and all the fun stuff. But if it weren't for my dad, he wouldn't have pushed me, or I wouldn't have been pushed to be here today, standing in front of all of you. Because I remember multiple times, I get home from school and my dad would be pretty much waiting at the front door asking me, what merit badges did you work on this week? Or I'd be sitting there playing Xbox on a Saturday afternoon, minding my own business. And out from the furthest corners of the house, I'd hear someone scream, Andrew, what merit badges did you work on this weekend? And I would hate you so much sometimes. And there were some times where I just really wanted just to quit. But I didn't. And because I didn't, because you didn't let me, I'm standing here today with being the second person in my family to get Eagle Scout. So thank you, Dad.
No pressure now, Grayson, because you're last. Everybody's going to remember what you said.
That's not the right one. I'd first like to start by thanking all of my friends and family who have joined me today. Each one of you has contributed to my success on the road to Eagle, and I'm grateful to be surrounded by such wonderful people as yourselves. I've been a part of scouting for 2/3 of my life. In 2010, I joined Pack 231, and this started me down the hardest and most rewarding path I've ever been down in life. In 2015, I joined Troop 179. 179 is an amazing organization supported by the best leadership. To every adult leader who played a pivotal role in my success and development, thank you. I can never talk about my path to Eagle without talking about the numerous campouts I've been on. I have so many memories of the assorted activities, service projects, and weekend campouts. They've always been so much fun. For most people, there's 2 constants in life: death and taxes.
For a scout, there are three: death, taxes, and cards. To show you how much I love playing, I always carry a deck of cards on me. Now, this might seem kind of unoriginal, but I was going to say, many scouts can boast the same thing. George, I know for an example, carries a deck on him. Speaking of George, I would like to take a moment to say how thankful I am for all the countless friendships I've made in scouting. If I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really a fan of the other new scouts when I first joined, but I'm more than glad to say they've grown on me, and the friendships I've made in scouting I hope last a very long time. Scouting has not only given me amazing opportunities, but it has also given me the ability to learn important life skills. For example, personal management has taught me how to manage my time effectively. First aid has taught me how to save a life. Basketry has taught me how to weave baskets. And most importantly, the numerous leadership positions I've held have taught me how to lead my peers. General thank yous don't do enough, so I'd like to extend a thank you to Chuck for his decades of service to Troop 179 and always keeping our troop running at peak capacity. I would also like to thank Connie for her continuous guidance and tolerance. Her passion for scouting is unmatched. I've always known I was Connie's favorite scout. But what first tipped me off was when me, Andrew, and a few other scouts were at the JCC, all taking the lifeguarding merit badge. Connie was our instructor. After a couple days of Connie and I doing what we usually do, and me being the most perfect and innocent scout she could have ever hoped for, she said, jokingly, or at least I hope, she would like to hold my head underwater until the bubbles stop. I knew right then I had won her over. Thank you again, Connie. I would like to thank my parents for their continued involvement and encouragement with my scouting career. My dad, who was an Eagle Scout himself, has always pushed me to finish Eagle even when I didn't like it. Without him, I never would have gotten this far. Thank you. My mom has always been the quiet cheerleader on the sidelines, ensuring that I got to all of my meetings timely. And for every campout, I didn't forget anything. She keeps all of my packing lists in Excel, printing out a new one each time, depending on the season. And despite her printed lists, she always doubts herself, worried that I might forget something or I might just get cold. I'm thankful to have a mom who continuously questions my long-term intentions and helps me see things differently. Thank you, Mom. Thank you to all of my family who've joined me today. Thank you to everyone involved in Troop 179, leaders, fellow scouts, and parent volunteers. You've all made my scouting journey so memorable. The time you've invested planning, guiding, and providing patience will not be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you to all the Eagle Scouts. Great words, much appreciated. Great job. And now I'd like our Assistant Senior Patrol Leader, Nicole Waldron, to bring the Court of Honor to a close.
I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for everyone coming tonight. And if I can have please everyone stand and join me in the, in the Scoutmaster's benediction. And now, may the great master of all scouts be with us until we meet again. Thank you.
There are some refreshments in the church fellowship hall. Feel free to stay. Pictures are welcome. Congratulations again to all our Eagle Scouts.